You are watching NetSoft IT Academy. 905-812-2923. info@netsoftakademy.com. www.netsoftakademy.com.
Now let's start with lab number 34, which is about enabling and disabling the maintenance mode. Now, on the Exchange server, we'll first navigate to the Exchange management shell. Now, I know for a second even I was tempted to go to the terminal. It does happen to all of us. It happens to the best of us, but make sure that you do not go to the terminal because your commands will not run on the terminal. Now, I'll wait for my Exchange management shell to connect first, and once it is connected, then we'll run a series of commands now. Now, these are the commands that I've pasted on my notepad here for easier access. I'm going to run one command at a time. So the first one that we are setting the component state for Exchange Server 1, we are setting the component to hub transport, and we are setting the state to draining and the requester to maintenance or as maintenance. Once that is done, we are going to restart the Exchange transport service. Now remember, a few of the roles that you, or few of the component states that you are seeing here can or cannot be a little bit wild to work with. So again, make sure that you copy and paste things properly. Otherwise, you will run into issues. If there are spaces or something else towards the end, it will create a few issues for you. Now I'll wait for this service to start, and it has started. Very good. Then we run the Exchange restart service MS Exchange front-end transport. Now these are all hub transport, front-end transport. These are all things that were roles in the older versions of Exchange Server 2019, the older editions. So like Exchange Server 2013, 2016. Not even 2016, though 2016, 2019 onwards, we had basically the same type of roles. But 2010, 2013 would be a more appropriate number. So those versions had these roles. But now in our newer version, we only get two roles. One is the Exchange Server mailbox role, and the other is the Exchange Server edge transport role. So now when I press this, you can see that it is ready, everything is normal, everything looks good. Then we set the server component state again for inactive now. And once it is done, we run this command, which automatically gives us the auto size and everything. And you can see the state of everything. Only monitoring, recovery actions are enabled or active, everything else is inactive. Now, this is where we are going to also run a series of commands to make sure that it is just transition back. So the very first thing that now instead of this command right here, instead of inactive here, let's say component by this one offline, we just change the state to active, and that should get us back online. So let's try that. Ideally, that's what it does, right? Active, that worked. Then the next thing that we are also making sure it is active or state is active is for this part. The hub transport state, instead of draining, we change it to active. I hope everybody is getting the command that I'm doing here. Let me clear this and run this again. So instead of the state that is set to draining here, we set to active. We are using the same commands. I'm not using the other commands. I'm not using anything else. I'm using the same commands, but I'm just doing my commands in a different sequence now. So first I'm going to restart the MS Exchange transport service. Then I'm going to restart the MS Exchange front-end transport service. And then I just run the command for the get server component. And you see, now everything is working except for forward sync daemon and provision RPS that is set to active. And this is how you do this. Now, it was just me playing around with the commands a little bit, just moving them back and forth, running them in a different order. But ideally, you should follow the commands in the book and run them in sequence, one after the other. You change the sequence, you could risk doing some damage that you don't even know about. So keep that in mind, and I'll see you in the next lab. Thank you.
Thank you for watching NetSoft IT Academy. 905-812-2923. info@netsoftacademy.com. www.netsoftacademy.com.